Hi everybody, this is Julissa. Thank you so much everybody for coming back to my channel, and thank you so much to everybody who's watching and listening right now in the podcast. Today is Thursday, February the 5th, 2026. I'm here to do a follow video in regards to the missing mother of today's show host, Savannah Guthrie. Her mom, Nancy Guthrie, is missing. I think by now everybody knows what's going on over there, meaning like how she got abducted in the middle of the night from her house. There was blood splatter at the front door. A lot of things are coming out about that. But at the end of the day, today is just already, it's Thursday evening, the 5th of February. Like I said, there still is no information about where she is. She still has not been released, I guess you could say, from her captors back to the family. There still hasn't been any proof of life. And it's so crazy to even say that like that. There still is no information about her whereabouts right now. Um, so I'm gonna do a follow video about that. Before I continue, I'm gonna say thank you so much everybody who has been watching and subscribing on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for doing that. Really means a lot to me. And of course, everybody who's listening right now using Spotify podcast, I want to ask you guys a favor. Please follow JulissaDesigns Spotify podcast because it helps me as a creator. And if you've been listening for a while, you just have to hit follow, and it's totally free. Just follow the podcast. Every time I make a new episode, you get a notification. Do apologize because the lighting here is very strong right now. So if you can do that for me, that would be great. You just follow JulissaDesigns podcast. Um, and that way, every time I make a new episode, that's what I was trying to say, you will get a notification. The same thing if you're using Apple Podcasts, you can also do the same there and leave a comment. So, you guys, the nightmare continues for Savannah Guthrie. I have been praying for her mom a lot. I have been praying for her mom, for her family. There's so many things. I think society these days, we're so in tune into creating one thing out of something else, and we need to be so careful about that. I'm referring to conspiracy theories, and all this is happening because of that. You need to understand Savannah is a very well-known TV host here in the US, so she's going to speak about numerous type of cases. She's going to investigate a lot of things that are happening, and you know you can't let your mind, the mom has not been found yet. You can't let your mind go wild thinking all these things. Right now, I think we need to, I've seen so many people speaking about what could have been the motive behind this. And it's like everybody needs to kind of like come back to reality and just look at things for what they are. Do people retaliate? Yes, that happens. You get judges who, once they do some type of sentencing, I guess you can say, they do retaliate. They get retaliation from the people being accused. All of that stuff happens in life, but in this case is very rare because they took an 84-year-old elderly woman from her house in the middle of the night. And you can't just run wild just because one of her daughters is a very well known TV host, right? This is when you have to kind of like ask for discernment and have control of your thoughts, right? Um, One thing though that I was watching the press conference earlier today that they did, and one thing that I saw was they mentioned something interesting. So, in case you haven't known, let me give you a brief, I guess you can say, summary about it. Saturday night, Nancy Guthrie is the mom of Savannah Guthrie from the Today show that like I just said. She was dropped off by her son-in-law in her house in Arizona after having a family dinner around 9:45 p.m. So today they give the timeline of events, right? Around 1 a.m., there was a notification in the camera Saturday, I guess you can say early Sunday morning, there was a notification on the alarm system saying somebody was at the front door, right? Unfortunately, because there was no subscription, right, to the security camera, which, I find this so odd. I found this so odd, and I'm not trying to point fingers, nothing like this, right? You have your 84-year-old mom who lives by herself. You say, she cannot get very far on her own. You mean walking? She cannot get too far on her own walking. She needs her medication 24/7. And yeah, we have cameras, but really we don't have any way of retrieving that footage. I don't know what's missing here. Like, I don't know how that happened, right? But anyways, right now we have to look at what's happening in the moment right now, which is just still missing. So the police say we cannot retrieve any videos. We know that there was a notification that somebody was at the front door around 1:30 a.m. on Sunday morning, right? She's in the house by herself, dropped off Saturday night around 9:45. At 1:30 in the morning or 2 o'clock, I believe, somebody was at the front door. And then there's no more footage about that. They're saying that we have no more information. Then she missed Sunday service, and then the family got notification from friends from the church saying, she's not in service today. What's going on? They went to do a wellness check, I guess you can say, and they realized she wasn't home. And then they saw the blood spatters at the front door. And now, you know, 2 days after that, right, they notify police, all of that. 2 days after that, they say that TMC, the big, news celebrity gossip channel, I guess you can say, they say they received a ransom note. And also, local Arizona TV stations say they also received a ransom note, requiring so much Bitcoin amount for her return, and the deadline was today, Thursday at 5 p.m., right? And just about 2 hours ago, her brother, Savannah Guthrie's brother, put out a video on Instagram, I believe, saying, we haven't been able to communicate with whoever has her, right? We need to speak. We're ready to speak. Last night also, Savannah, her sister, and the brother sat down and did a video saying, they spoke about kind of like talking to their mom and talking to the captors and say, we're ready to speak, right? They're in that moment like, we want to negotiate her safe return. What's going on? And I don't understand why they're sending ransom notes to like big TV stations instead of sending this information to the family, I guess, or sending some type of email. But they send one, like I said, to TMC, and they send another ransom note to a local TV station over there in Arizona. And the deadline, one of the ransom notes, the deadline was was today at 5 p.m. That already passed, right? After that, the brother came out and put a video saying, we're ready to talk. We haven't been able to communicate directly. It's so crazy that ransom notes and like all this notification, and then the FBI hasn't been able to create that connection between family and captors. I find that very odd, right? Can they trace back who sent that thing to TMC, who sent it to the local station? Can they connect the two together so we can get some type of negotiation going on, right? Savannah asked last night for a proof of life, right? They're saying without her medication, her mom, she has cardiac issues or something like this, and she's not, I guess you can say, not gonna live long. She doesn't have her medication. Um, it's so crazy. It's so crazy that all of this is happening. The blood on the entrance of the house, some type of struggle happened. And then what I was saying, what I learned today after watching the press conference, something that I tell you guys all the time. If you've been listening to me for a while, you know that I always talk about these food delivery people, right? The Uber Eats and the DoorDashes and all of that. Nothing against them, right? But we have learned throughout, since all of that was released, all these apps, were released, that there have been some serious cases about them, right? They hire, I don't know if they do background check, something like this, but they hire people that do a lot of evil things also, right? You're getting food delivered to your house, if you don't tip enough, right? If you don't come out and get your food, or they get lost trying to find you, and then you leave a negative review, now that person knows where you live, right? And this is why you have to be so careful, because we're living in society now that people they erase humanity from sometimes from reasoning, and they forget that somebody's human, and it's like it's okay if that person is upset and give you a negative review because they spent 30 minutes looking for you, right? And if they only tip you $1, you don't have to retaliate somehow. Just move on to the next customer, right? But now, because they know where you live and all of that, things can happen. And something that was mentioned today, was that I just couldn't believe it when I heard it. There, I'm not, like I said, please don't think that I'm blaming anybody, but they have their mom living in this mansion, basically, right? A mom who is 84 years old, right? I work retail many times. I used to get a lot of repeat customers, and what do people like that do? They share stories with you. This regular shopping they turns into an encounter. Be like, oh yeah, my daughter is the TV host of this TV show. Um, it's just it comes out naturally because they're so proud of them, right? People will share so much information, especially when they're elderly, right? Especially when they're just trying to have conversation with you. Sweet people like that, they will share so much information by you just saying, "Hey, how are you today?" And then they start, "Oh, you remind me of my granddaughter who does this thing to the other, or who works over there on this or the other." Um, they mentioned that she took an Uber to the family gathering Saturday night, and I mean, I don't even. There are people that are not they're not even comfortable getting in an Uber, okay? And you have a elderly person, 84 years old, living in this rich looking mansion up in the hills in Arizona, calling an Uber to being dropped off. And yes, there's cameras. Yes, um, you know, um, the family can track it on the app how close the car is and this and the other. But like I said, there are people who are not even comfortable getting in an Uber. So for her to just to go have dinner with the family, an Uber was called for her. It says to me that this is a very familiar thing that they do with her, or that she is used to doing. And that to me is very shocking, because taking an Uber on a regular basis, if you live by yourself, will make more sense if you live in an apartment building with the people at the door. What are they called? I forgot now. Um, with the front door, I forgot what they call it now. It will make more sense, right? If you live like that. But up in a hill, your house is up in a hill. Obviously, it's a very, I think it's $1 million house, right? It looks very expensive, all of that, very big too. And you're telling me an 84-year-old woman, you can be all street man at that, you can be, right? At some point, um, things are gonna come out, you know. Oh wait, don't leave yet. Let me just make sure I lock the door correctly because nobody else is in the house. I live by myself. Something like this, right? Oh yeah, my daughter works on television. She does the Today Show. You've probably seen her before. That type of communication might come out. Now, I'm not saying the person who picked her up that Saturday night might be responsible. They already cleared that person. I'm not saying anything like that. But taking an Uber, um, like that, it sounds to me like this was not her first ride share like that. It sounds to me like this is a very common thing for her to do, and that was my concern. That's my concern because you know we live in crazy times right now, and I really hope, because they don't have a suspect. I'm just trying to like think what could have happened like that. It's very specifically everything that they saw. They saw that I believe was some of the cameras were turned off, and I mean, I said in my previous video, whoever went there that day, that night in the middle of the night, knew 100% that this woman was alone. They knew 100% that there was no cameras that were able to track. Okay, and could that come up in a conversation? Yes, that can also come up, right? I really hope that they find her. Like I said, I've been praying for her. It's just so sad that it's been almost like a week almost, right? I mean, today's already Thursday night, so let me see if I can get more information here from this article. It says here that Guthrie, which is Savannah's brother, like I said, is speaking directly to the person or the persons, the people involved in the disappearance of their mother, Nancy, 5 days after she went missing from her Tucson, Arizona home. In a video shared on Savannah's Instagram account on Thursday night, today, like I said, a couple hours ago, he pleaded directly with those that may have taken Nancy, asking for them to reach out to the family and let them know that Nancy is alive so that they can move forward. This is they're basically describing what he said, and let me just see here. On Wednesday, February 4th, he said he joined his siblings, Savannah and Annie, on Instagram video, which the three made an emotional plea for their mom's safe return. And Savannah said, "Mom, if you're hearing this, you are a strong woman, and you are God's precious daughter." And Nancy, it says here, she was 84, last seen Saturday, January the 31st, at her home in Arizona, and she was reported missing the next day, prompting an urgent search by the Pima County Sheriff Department. Nancy relies on daily medication, like I told you guys before, for her survival, has no cognitive issues, but is limited in mobility. And let me see. No suspect or any person of interest has been identified. There were early reports, and I was gonna make a video yesterday. I think I didn't because there was an early report already signaling something related to a person of interest coming from the same family. And with things like that, you have to be so careful, right? Until the official statement comes out. So that was already squashed down, saying that's not true. So thanks God for that. So now the reward is a $50,000 reward for any information leading to the recovery of Nancy or the arrest of anybody involved in her disappearance. During the press conference, authorities also addressed the alleged ransom note that have been sent to several media outlets. Cher said an individual was arrested for being an impostor. An impostor ransom demand, and investigators are continuing to look into other notes. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. You're gonna create a ransom, and you're gonna create a fake ransom note. You see people in pain, and that's not even like I said. People forget humanity. Like it gets erased. This is the world that we're living in right now. That's why you have to be so careful. You see three three siblings distraught on TV, pleading for their mom, and you wanna create a fake ransom note? Insane. But this is what people are doing. Well, that person already got arrested, thanks be to God, right? So this is where we are, guys. I mean, there hasn't been any update since I started talking to you. I'm gonna just double check on that because things can change very quickly. And we like I said, we're praying for good news about her. We're expecting good news about her. That whoever has her, that God will work in that person. So I'm just trying to see if there was any updates. So nothing yet, you guys. If there's any update, I'll definitely come here and do another video. Let's continue to pray for her safe return. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming to my channel. Thank you so much, everybody who's listening in the podcast. Have a good day. God bless. Hi everybody, this is Julissa. Thank you so much for coming to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. And I hope to see you in the next video. Have a good day, everybody. God bless.